Howdy friends, and welcome to one of the most unique locations on the entire planet. Today we're heading to Bryce Canyon National Park, one of the mighty five in the beautiful state of Utah. You will see some great photos and 4K videos of spectacular vistas at multiple scenic points within the park. The last part of the video is a campground recon of the majority of the campsites for those of you who like to camp. So let's saddle up and head them on out. Bryce Canyon is located in southwest Utah, not far from the Arizona border. It is northeast of Zion National Park and just south of Highway 12 along Highway 63. As you enter the park from the north, you will find restaurants, gasoline, propane, general store, and some shops near the visitor center. Past the visitor center, you will see roads to your left that take you to the popular overlooks of Sunrise, Sunset, Inspiration, and Bryce Points. All of them have fantastic views of one of the most amazing rock formations in the world. One of the first roads you'll see to your left is to the North Campground, and then as you pass the road to Sunset Point, there's a cutoff for the Sunset Campgrounds. I will show you some detailed campsite information a little later. If you continue down Highway 63, you will come to additional scenic overlooks along the 18-mile road that runs sort of along a ridge. My first stop was Sunset Point as it was late in the afternoon. I unloaded my wheelchair and wheeled up the path that runs along the rim of the amphitheater, and boy was I surprised when I got to the top. Below me was an amphitheater full of colorful rock formations called Hoodoos, which I had seen in pictures, but the immense size and the number of them was more than any picture could capture. There are trails that run down below the rock formations, and you can see people walking on those, and the view looking up is quite spectacular, I heard. The trails are steep, and you're at 8,000 feet above sea level, so make sure you know your limitations. There are more hoodoos in Bryce National Park than any place in the world. All of the different rock and soil types combined with the sunlight make for some spectacular views in almost every direction overlooking the park. Wheelchair accessibility is adequate at most lookouts, but the trails around them can be a challenge, so exercise caution. The trails below are paved going down and are in good shape, but they are extremely steep. You find this pink sandstone all throughout southwest Utah. Far out on the eastern horizon is Capitol Reef. The park is almost 36,000 acres and has about 2 million visitors per year. It became a national park in 1923, but there is evidence of human inhabitants going back thousands of years. Here is an example of some of the steep pathways that go down to the bottom. Along some of the ridges, you'll see windows and arches, which have been formed by the ice and water and rain. They look very similar to the large windows that you see in Arches National Park. No matter when you arrive, you are treated to a spectacular view. However, some of the prettiest times of the day are the mornings and the evenings, as the sunlight lights up different rock formations, and with the shadows, the Amphitheater of Hoodoos takes on totally different colors. If you're brave enough to take some of the paths, you can find some little hideaway places where you can get some pretty spectacular views. Here's a peek over to the Hoodoos that are all lit up by the setting sun. Here's a great view of Capitol Reef, which spans into the eastern skyline. It heads up north and is part of a Capitol Reef National Park. It makes you wonder how anything grows out here, but here's a tree growing right on the cliffside. Ebenezer Bryce settled in this area in the late 1800s. He spent time cutting timber, farming, and had some livestock as well. When he was asked what he thought of the canyon when he first saw it, Ebenezer simply replied, "Well, it's one hell of a place to lose a cow." And with that assessment, the park became a destination of people passing to the area as they migrated westward. Many of the indigenous tribes that lived in this area over the centuries tended to stay away from this area as they saw faces and creatures in all of these rock formations. And it was a spiritual area to them, and maybe not so much good spirits. If you come to this area, the golden hour, which is the hour right before sunset and right after sunrise, you can get some spectacular views as the coloration in the rocks is really accented. We got in our car and drove south down Highway 63 and looked at some of the scenic viewpoints there. It was a different perspective, and some were more forested than others. But it was worth the drive if you've got the time to spend and enjoy Mother Nature. Towards the south end of the park, you can see there's more forest off to the southeast and to the south. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the beginning of the formation of Hoodoos. And that white layer erodes. You can already see the little capstones that'll be on top of the Hoodoos. Fire is just a natural part of any forest, and you can see the evidence of this on Highway 63. We were driving back north after going to the far end of the road. There was 2 major fires in the area, the Riggs and Lonely fires in 2018, which burned 2,300 acres, and then the Bridge fire in 2009, where about 4,000 acres were burned. We're going to move on and take a look at 2 of the campgrounds. The first campground is the North Campground. It has dry camping and about 100 sites. There's 4 loops. A and B are paved for RV or tents, and loop C and D are unpaved for tent only. There's no showers, but flush toilets are in all the bathrooms. B loop does not have any flat sites for accessibility. As you can see from the video, most of the campsites and pads are built up asphalt with steep drop-offs, and the campsites are built into the hills. So if you have wheels like a wheelchair, it's not a real good area to camp in unless you want to stay right around your RV. You can also see how beautiful the area is. There's tons of ponderosa pine, and they have pretty nice facilities at each campsite. The bathrooms are great. They have hot and cold water, heaters, potable water, a sink to clean dishes in, but they do not have any showers. I like showing videos of campsites because you get a better perspective. When you look up the maps and the campsite pictures on recreation.gov, you can't tell if it's steep or if there's a drop-off in the back. So these videos provide quite a bit of information so that you can see if you have room to put your camper depending on the size, and then what the terrain is like. Obviously, from some of these campsites, you wouldn't want to have knee replacement surgery done recently because everything's up or down and there's not a lot of flat space to be in. Now, if you like to stay in your RV, then it's just great to be outside and see the wild animals that roam through the area. Since there was no accessible campsites in the North Campground that we thought were flat enough, we didn't go through every site, but this should give you some good ideas of what Loop A, B, C, and D all look like. Overall, the campsites are well maintained and roads are excellent. As far as accessibility, the campgrounds are tough if you are in a wheelchair, primarily because of the drop-off from the asphalt parking pad. It is very steep at almost all of the sites, except the ADA campsites. If you're traveling with a companion and you get everything out of the vehicle, then there are a lot of campsites that are flat. you had bad knees or in a wheelchair, I would avoid the North Campground and check on availability of the ADA sites in Sunset Campground. The Sunset Campground is similar to the North Campground as far as facilities. Some of the pads are a little bit shorter than others, some are long, there are some pull-throughs. One distinction is the Sunset Campsite in Loop A has 2 wheelchair accessible campsites. They're both pull-through, so they're easy to maneuver. You can see how short some of these asphalt pads are. So they would be good for tent camping or small trailers. It was a little bit more crowded at this end of the loop, but then it stretches out a little bit more on the backside. Keep in mind that both the North and the South campgrounds are dry camping only. There's no electrical and water is only available at the bathrooms. Check the website because there are generator hours posted. We camped in late fall and it really got cold at night, down in the 20s. So we were pleasantly surprised to go to the restrooms and find out they had heaters in there. So there's one convenience you can look forward to. We had originally signed up for Site 234, and when we got there, camp host moved us over to Site 224, which was the second ADA campsite. Here's 223. They keep those blocked off for the camp host to allow accessible campers and here we are right across from the public bathroom, a nice long pull-in site. It was flat. Could get to the picnic table easily. We pretty much can live on the asphalt. If there's a small drop off or it's flat on the side of the asphalt, then that works out really well for us. Have you picked out a favorite campsite yet? There are plenty of them. And if you have a short rig, you can fit in just about anywhere. It's very quiet and very peaceful in this campground. A lot of deer that run through the area. And it's very quiet. The skies are very black as well. So get out away from the trees. You're greeted to a spectacular display in the sky with stars lit up all around you. Loops B and C are tent only. And we didn't go through this area and do meticulous reviews of each site, since if you're camping with a tent, you probably don't need a lot of accessibility. But you can see it's a very pretty area and has a lot of great sites. If you're a tent camper, any one of these would work well for you. Hopefully this drive-through will give you some idea of what the area looks like. All of it is within the forest. Almost every campsite has trees, which give you some shade in the afternoons. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your guided tour through the campgrounds. Hopefully you were able to find something that you liked. You can see it's a gorgeous area. And hopefully the videos can give you some really good ideas of the terrain around you and what to expect. We spent 2 cold nights in Bryce, but enjoyed every minute of it. I hope you can make it to this beautiful park. If you like the video and the information here, I hope you will hit like and subscribe to our channel. I have a lot more videos in store and in one of the few channels out here that shows you accessibility features as well as detailed videos of almost every campsite that we go to. We are off to our next destination. So as we say back home, so long, be safe, and happy trails.